guys, welcome back to the Wednesday Spotlight. Today is Wednesday, December 5th, and this month it's all about finding self-esteem and self-worth within our art form, and also just finding healing in our art form. And also, welcome to December, the last month of 2018. Can you believe it already? Dang, we're already here.
Came up too quick.
I have with me today Miss Michelle. Oh my gosh, not Michelle. Miss Shanell McCoy. Not Michelle, Shanell McCoy. Thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Okay, you gotta tell them, what do you do? Because I just came across a post and you do so much that I didn't even know that you did.
Yeah,
so
I do so much that I don't even know what I do either. Okay, so I'm a singer. So I have an album out at ShanellMcCoy.com and all streaming channels.
That's awesome. Y'all see that plug? Check it out.
All streaming channels, including Tidal, because the service I paid for put it on Tidal. I also am the executive director of a blogging publication called Black Honey Collective, and I am a producer and co-host of a podcast called Ask a Guy. And those are my three main hustles right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're doing it though.
Yeah.
That's what's up.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're doing it. Okay. So when you have so many platforms and talking about self-esteem, what does self-esteem mean to you? And then how do you relay that in your art form?
It took me a while to get to that place of loving myself. So self-esteem means to love yourself, and to be able to get to that place where you're trusting of who you are, where you kind of know the things that work for you and the things that don't, who aligns in your life and who doesn't, when to hold on to things and when to let go of things.
So important.
It's very important. How to protect your peace, how to protect your space, how to preserve your energy. I think all of that means self-esteem. And for me, finding that self-love and also finding that peace. And that translates in my work to where I don't want to look for validation in the work that I do. I just want to do it because I love it.
That's awesome. That's awesome. How do you find your confidence then in your art? So you touched on doing it because you love it. And I just want to say I really love and respect that part of your work, because I think sometimes so many artists struggle with finding that validation or getting those likes or all that stuff, and not just doing it because it fills their cup up. So that's awesome that you're doing that. So how do you find your confidence?
Being able to step away from it all. Because when you try to do everything for likes, like you said, you can get lost, and the art gets lost in that. I don't ever want to be in a position where I'm doing things just to get the likes. Or I'm sacrificing myself just to get that. I feel like the people that vibe with your art will get it. And they will be there for you, and you will attract more people like that. And it's so fulfilling to be around people who are like-minded and who share that energy with you, rather than trying to be amongst people and not be yourself. It's so draining, and I think we've all done that before and felt that.
I know I have, absolutely.
And just felt like I'm not passionate about the things that I love to do anymore because I'm not doing it for myself anymore. So for me to find my confidence means stepping away sometimes, because even in me being as confident as I can be, sometimes I lose that being in the world, and you just always have to just step back and find yourself again.
Especially in the form of media where they're always throwing stuff at us, like this is your new beauty or this is what you're supposed to look like. And being able to just be like, nope, I am who I am, and this is my voice and my story. You're about to take on a new project. What things do you go through? What is your process that you go through to make sure that the project represents you as an artist or your message that you want to bring out?
I ask myself if I'm passionate about it. I think, at least for me with doing my music, I put out a project in October 2017. That project took me 2 years. And I didn't think that it would take that long to do an album. I thought it was like, 6 months, I'm gonna record it and then I'm gonna put it out. It was like a process. And then even 2 years later, there's songs on my album that I wrote 3-4 years ago that we're just now doing music videos to. And it's just a process, but I think for me, I have to be passionate about it. And I brought up my album because I feel like, it's been 2 years now, I have to make another one. And I've been in positions where I forced myself to write, but I'm not able to do that. And so for me, I have to ensure that I'm passionate about what I'm doing, I have to make sure I feel like that energy around it. Like it makes sense to do it. Am I doing it because I want to do it, or am I doing it because I feel like other people are pressuring me to do that? Or I feel like I have to put out this much content in order to look successful to the world.
Right.
And so those are important to me. And also making sure that I collaborate with the right people. I think a lot of times we collaborate with people for clout. Like, oh, this person has 10,000 followers, I'm going to collaborate with them. But it's just like the passion is gone, and you're just creating something that is just there. It just
or you get with those people and you're like, yo, we don't mesh at all. Like,
and then it's just a big mess, and it's like, why did we even try to do this in the first place?
Right.
But it's a learning lesson at the end of the day too, of who, you know, aligns with you and who doesn't too. Because I've definitely collaborated with people because of clout. It turned out so terrible, but I learned a lot because of it.
Yeah, and it's all about the journey too, and taking every experience and learning the lesson, and not just walking the road. You also bring up a really good point about it took you 2 years to get a project. Like, art takes time, and I think a lot of people, especially those who are not in the art field, don't realize that, yes, you see some posts on Facebook or you see a finished product, but know that took a really long time to come up with that. Okay, so how has your art helped with your personal healing? Now, whether that is healing from your own issues with self-love and finding that, or healing in some other aspect of your life?
In multiple ways, and I'm glad I think I keep a lot of different hustles because I need that balance of not just sometimes I pour everything into my music, but sometimes I pour everything into my writing, or sometimes I pour everything into my podcasting, but having those different channels to release everything has been helpful for me. One example that I talk about is I was in a relationship for 5 years that was really toxic, and I learned a lot through it. But the way for me to get over it was me recording a podcast in my closet. And every week I would go in and I would just say, this is how I'm feeling, this is how I'm going through it. And hearing myself talk to myself brought out a whole other element of healing for me. And I also had to be accountable, because now I'm putting out content that's saying, oh, I'm this far into my journey. I can't go back on the podcast and be like, oh, my bad, y'all. We got back together.
My bad.
Actually, everything I said was a lie. So that kept me accountable in that way, because other people started to press into my podcast, and they were like, I'm learning with you. So I felt like, okay, I have to keep that going. But then I also did my album. A lot of my music was inspired by that. But just having an outlet to pour into. I may not release every song that I record.
Right.
But it's
and nor do you have to, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Because it is about the process. And sometimes, you know, things are left better unsaid. Your art is for you, and you just need to get in the studio and let it out, and then you're done.
That's so true. I remember getting in a space where I was so used to sharing, especially with the podcast, where I would just put everything out. And I got to a point where I was like, I don't have to. I don't have to share everything. And so I started to pull back and protect myself, because I felt like through my art we can feel pressured to be vulnerable when we don't have to be, if we don't want to be.
You have that choice. And that's a great thing about art, is that we have the choice of how much we actually want to show or what we want to keep for ourselves, and that's okay. All right. How can people get a hold of you? Where can they follow you? Where can they see your work?
For my music, you can follow me on all social media platforms at the Shanell McCoy, Shanell with the S. And
not Michelle, by the way.
Not Michelle.
Shanell.
Shanell. So the Shanell McCoy, all my social media platforms, and on there you can find everything that I do. You can follow Ask a Guy, my podcast, at Ask a Guy POD. Black Honey Collective at Black Honey Collective, and then blackhoneycollective.com. So Okay. Any last words? Shout outs? Shout out to my mama, get this money all day. And my dad and my brother and my sister, my family. I guess I didn't think about family squad. Everybody, I don't know. No, but thank you for having me on. I really appreciate this opportunity.
Thank you for coming on. I really appreciate you being open and vulnerable and honest. I think that that's a part of what makes art as well, is when people can be like, yo, I'm a real person.
Yeah.
Like, I have feelings and things like that. So that was Shanell McCoy. Thank you again for being here.
Thank you.
You guys, that's it for this week's Wednesday Spotlight. Join us next week, and remember, dare to be different.